What? Ladies and gentlemen, a 1971 Telecaster Custom through the 65 SoHo. This guitar is raw, rough, and ready. This is not a polished, sweet, polite guitar. It is a naughty little bastard. It makes very raunchy, lovely sounds. I don't know if you've seen a lot of these days. This is a 3-bolt neck, early 70s CBS Telecaster Custom. And it's just great. It's really great. Anyway, it's October 17th, 2024. My name's Dan Boole. I'm the head of 65 Amps. Listen to the neck pick. I'm just got a middle position. The neck pickup on this thing is so vintage blues. If I go to the neck pickup, it's almost like there's a fuzz pedal on it, isn't it? Anyway, what a fun guitar. Hey, Hoss Thompson from the north of England. Mr. 13 Stars himself. How are you, buddy? I'm definitely a bean. I don't know about old, but still, okay, I'm an old bean. Well seasoned. How are you, young bean? Does this guitar just scream rock and roll, or is it just me? This would fit in good on 13 Stars stage, I think. Not much red up there. Yeah, this is my friend Kirk's guitar. He lives a few doors down. He is a studio musician and composer and has hundreds of guitars. I don't know if he has hundreds. He has a lot of guitars. He's got a room about this size that's just all guitars lined up against the wall, stacked to the ceiling. He can recreate any sound you possibly want. He's really kind of fun because he's one of those guys I learned from. You know, he's the modern evolution of studio musician. It's all like this. Like my setup is what a lot of people use now. the aux box and an amp going right into a computer. And it sounds really great. He uses a Kemper a lot too. When he just profiles amps that he likes, his amps that he likes, and takes them with him. It's kind of what's given me the idea to do the stuff I've told you about. So anyway, what's happening with you guys? Life's really good here, I gotta admit. We'll go down to no gain whatsoever and just hear the raw Tele pickup. Isn't that a great, like, vintage Tele sound? I would do the Cheryl song again. It sounds just like it, right? You know, Peter, this is a 71. Peter has a 73 that's exactly like this. And he uses that guitar all the time. It's still one of his favorite guitars. And Kirk told me last night when I picked this up that this was like his favorite guitar. And I remember when I was a kid, these 70s 3-bolt neck CBS guitars were not very sought after. But man, they've sure aged well. Doesn't that sound right? Yeah, it sounds right, Hoss, doesn't it? It's a really great guitar. And Kirk told me he's afraid to even clean up the neck because it might change something. Yeah, guitar players can be a little superstitious. I don't know if you knew that or not. But yeah, it's got sound. If I put it into open G, it would be Dead Nuts Keith, I think. We should do that here in a minute. It's a 3-bolt neck, so it doesn't stay in tune that great. They move. Which is kind of funny. Like, it shows you what CBS's mindset was. Like, hey, yeah, Brian Mendes. Hey, buddy, Scotty Bratcher. I wiped my SG down a couple days ago and feel awful about it. I know the feeling, man. Guitar players can be a little superstitious. Hoss Thompson says, I agree with Mike Campbell. Never clean a Fender fretboard. Yeah, there's something to it. I don't know. Yeah, this one's lovely though, isn't it? Like, that just screams rock and roll, doesn't it? It's a great guitar. But anyway, I thought it was so funny in the 70s, CBS thought, hey, you know what? We can save 50 cents on every guitar by putting 3 bolts on the neck instead of 4. They must have been selling a lot of guitars for that to matter, right? You know. Yeah, this guitar sounds great. It's really heavy too. I think it's a big piece of ash. Get it? Anyway, we'll hear the neck pickup on the cleaner set. I mean, that's just vintage love right there. I mean, that sounds perfect old record to me. Anyway, Brian Mendes is here. One of my favorite drummers and favorite people in the world right there. love it. I love it. I love it. Well, we got a nice group of people here. Hoss Thompson, Brian Mendes, Scotty Bratcher. All sorts of, what was that ding? I don't know. I wish I knew how to play some country. I'm a horrible country player, but Is the show still sponsored for Titleist for more than a Sunday drive? Yes, it is. Titleist GT drivers. That's just me kissing their ass trying to get a free golf club. One of the guys that comes on this show, I won't say his name, he works for Titleist. And I just want a free golf club. So I'm offering them advertising. And I think the word is whorish way. Whorish way? Does that sound correct? Whorish. Whorish. Dan is acting whorish. Yeah. I have a really nice Callaway, modern, brand new driver. Callaway. I hit the new Titleist stuff and went, hey. I have the latest and greatest Titleist. It's the LS Triple Diamond Low Spin Whammy Stick. And it goes a long way, but it doesn't feel as good as the Titleist. So yes, the Titleist GT driver, the GT2. If you don't hit the ball very well, it's good for me and you. The Titleist GT3, if you mishit it a little bit, you get an extra 2 or 3. The GT4, the one that I want really badly. If you hit the ball pretty well, you just want a little more. GT4 brought to you by Titleist and the Cushnet Company out of Massachusetts. Shameless whoring, right? Is that what that is? Begging, shameless whoring? I don't know. You tell me. Feel free to chime in here on the chat window. Yeah, that's kind of my other thing. I love hitting golf balls, so I've been doing it since I was a little kid, and I adore it. I'm not into the stuffy golf culture bit of it, just so you know. I just want to be clear. I do like that it's a game that we have to be honest. It's the only game I know of where you call penalties on yourself. And there is a distinct culture of brotherhood and friendship and supportiveness. And, hey, buddy, that was a good shot. Don't worry. We'll find it in the woods. Brian Bendis, who used to work at Bogner a long time ago, says, I cleaned Reinhold's telly and wiped off all the grime off the neck. I didn't know any better. And Jorg was pissed at me, saying, you don't clean the neck, it ruins the tone. Yeah. It's kind of true. Maple necks, I think rosewood necks, it doesn't really matter. But on maple necks, there's something about all that dead skin and nicotine or whatever's on the neck that kind of changes it a little bit. I think what it does is it takes a lot of the sharpness off the neck, because maple necks can be a little sharp and spiky. And if they're dirty, they're just less. It's all right. Rob Price had a Telecaster deluxe reissue, which I gave to my oh man, you're a nice stepfather. That's great. The reissue pickups are not like the originals. I put PAF style pickups in it. I have a modern Fender USA Tele Deluxe, nice, and I like it, but the pickups are not like Seth Lover wide range pickups. Yeah, you know, like when you get into the discussion about pickups and guitars and even amps, you know, it's the same thing. One of the big problems you have is the materials that the old stuff was made out of are just not there. Even Alnico 3 magnets, they're very different than they were 50 years ago. Even the process by which they make the magnet is modernized. So modern Alnico 2, 3, and 5 magnets are much cleaner internally than old ones were that were made in old dirty foundries and hand annealed. You know, there's a guy with a welding mask on stirring the mix around. Now it's all done by a computer in much better facilities. So it's just different. They're mining the ore from different places. So that falls, magnets like that. Hey, Knut, how are you, buddy? You know, that falls under, you know, guitar speakers and guitar pickups. And then wood, you've seen the comparison of like old growth wood versus new growth wood, how dense the rings are on new growth wood versus old growth wood. guitars just don't ring the same. So you could take the old pickups and put them in a modern piece of wood. It might not, it's definitely not going to sound the same. It might not be as good. It might be better. Who knows? I'm good, sir. Thank you, Canute. Nice to see you. We got Scandinavia checking in here. I love it. We got England. We got Texas. Rob, I forgot where you are. I apologize. I know where you are. I just forgot because I suck. But so there's just variables, I guess, is the short version of this speech. There's a lot of variables in making guitars, pickups, amps, all that kind of stuff. Same with amps, like, resistors just aren't the same unless you get old resistors. And even then, the old resistors have been sitting for 50, 60 years. Connecticut, that's right. I knew you were a Yankee. I mean that in a good way. I like Yankees. That part of the world, New England's I love it up there. I really love it. I love everybody's sense of humor. I love the food. And I love playing golf there in 3 seasons out of the year. James Savage says, it's magic. There is some magic to it. I think the mistake people make is just trying to duplicate old stuff. Hi, Phil Hadaway. How are you, buddy? Thanks for the applause. I appreciate it. The mistake, it's an honest mistake. It's not because anyone's stupid. It's just you think, well, I'll just reproduce that exact recipe and I should get the same result. Well, you can't get the same elements that were in that recipe anymore. So you need to adjust your recipe, and come up with something great. Reproducing old stuff exactly is, I don't want to say impossible. It's quite a challenge. It's really hard. But can you make really great instruments and really great amplifiers that are musical and fun and durable and robust? Absolutely. But you're not going to really do it by just copying an old recipe, It's like I live in LA. Great example. I live in LA, not a pizza town. I know 5 places in my neighborhood that claim to make New York style pizza. And I go there and it doesn't taste anything like the pizza in New York. And I ask them, why is that? And they go, well, the water's different here and the flour's different here. And Charles Olivier, how are you, buddy? One of my classmates from GIT in 1986, 1987. We have France here as well. So we got France, Norway, England, of course, the United States, and a few different, we got Texas. We have Scotty Bratcher in Ohio, Brian Mendes in Texas, and Rob Price in Connecticut. We're doing good. I like it. Thank you, fellas. So I haven't even started promoting the show yet. Pretty soon I'm going to start doing a little advertising and, trying to get subscribers. We're going to start migrating over to YouTube. The picture's better. The interface is better. I'll put all the links here on Facebook. It's just going to start redirecting you over to YouTube. So you don't need a subscription. You don't have to be a member. You don't have to have a ID, anything like that. It's much more private. So get ready. But yeah, right now I'm still doing like sort of what I consider the test phase. See how it works, get the technical stuff down, the sound, the lighting. I might end up moving to a place. We got plans, man. I can't tell you about them yet, but I have a nice meeting tomorrow, actually, to discuss these plans. But anyway, you can't get good New York pizza here in LA. And it's really not a pizza town. And everybody says it's because the water's different, the flour's different, the suppliers of the meats are different. Even the tomatoes that they buy, like if they're making their own sauce, the tomatoes that they buy are different. I understand a lot of the places when I lived in New York that made their own pizza, one of the, there's a Marco. It's pretty close to New York. Yeah, it's all right. It's pretty good. But the places where I lived in New York that I thought were outstanding, and it wasn't like Ray's. I mean, Ray's is good pizza, but it's kind of, but it's like In-N-Out in LA. It's not that great, but it's a landmark, so everybody goes there. New Haven, yeah, all the New England pizza is good. I've had great pizza in Connecticut. I've great pizza in Boston. Actually, to be honest, I kind of like pizza in Boston. Like North End pizza is really nice. But anyway, it's just different. But the places that I went to in New York that I really liked, one of the things they always told me was, Oh, we make our own sauce. It's not from a can. We actually get tomatoes and smash them up, and that's kind of one of the things. So the tomatoes are different, right? How's it go? Oh. Oh, that's what I'm thinking of. I had in my head Tears of a Clown, Marvin Gaye, right? This is Brian Ray's version of it. You know, Brian Ray that plays guitar for Paul McCartney? He did a version of this song that's so good. Howard Johnson's here. Come on, sing along, man. Tears of a clown when no one's around. I don't know why that song's just in my head. Sorry, you had to endure that. Smokey Robinson, Tears of a Clown, 1972. Thank you, Mr. Bledsoe. Yeah, that's such a great song. And did I say Marvin Gaye? Shit, sorry, I'm really tired. Smokey, excuse me, Smokey, with that really, really high voice. I apologize. That's a big mistake. Marvin Gaye had so many other fantastic songs, but that was not one of them. 50 years, 52 years. So, yeah, I don't know why, but it works great on guitar, doesn't it? You just pedal that A string. If there's a smile on my face. Did Stevie write that, Phil Hadaway? I did not know that. Stevie Wonder wrote that song. Where's the linen suit and the Panama hat? You get a free title as the man from Del Monte. Man, I don't know where that comes from, Hoss, but that's funny. I know funny. That's funny. Good job. Anyway, I didn't not know Stevie Wonder wrote that. Well, that explains the magnanimous beauty of it. Sounds great on this guitar. You saying I sound like Ringo Starr singing? Yeah. I can't sing quietly. Like if I back off this mic about 3 feet, I could sing full voice. I learned how to sing yelling over Marshalls. So my skill set's kind of limited. Howard Johnson is here, who could sing the D-I-C-K off the song. Remember when Howard used to come on the show? Howard, get in your car and come on over. He only lives 10 minutes from here. Guitar sounds good. Tears of a clown. So of course you got the one rhythm part, right? Then you can do the stringy thing. You could layer a lot of great guitar parts on there. Oh, Howard's got plumber issues today. Well, I think that's bullshit, Howard, but that's okay. I'm kidding. It's not. I'm just Just funny response. Douglas Robert, how are you, buddy? Rob Price says, I had the old school Italian bakery pizza last night. Thick crust, square cut, minimal cheese. You mean like Neapolitan kind of thing? Yeah, baby. What's funny is there's a place up here. There's a place, it's kind of famous in LA for you LA guys, called Joe Peeps. It's Joe Peeps New York Pizza, and it has their logo is Kilroy, you know, the eyes and the nose sticking over the wall with the fingers. And they advertise themselves as New York Pizza. But it's 2-inch deep dish pizza, which you and I all know is Chicago style pizza with the tomatoes on top of the cheese. I haven't talked to Frank Falbo in a while, Mike. I hope he's doing well. Speaking of Chicago's deep dish, we used to go eat at a Chicago restaurant all the time when Frank would come over. You know, he started his own guitar company, and I hope they're doing really well. You know, Hojo and the Benevolent Honky. Yeah, it's actually Buddy Deuce and the Benevolent Honky. Keith Johns, hey, bud, how are you? Good. I'm glad you're well, Douglas. Robert, ever since he started his guitar company, he's just busy, man. Like when I had the factory going to 65, no one knew me. Is this guitar great or is it just me? Like, hey, it's my cousin Putta. Hi, sweetie. How are you? And Randy Kreth. Hey, buddy. How are you? Good to see you. My cousin's here. I have so many cousins that every week some cousins come on. I think last week I had, so it's kind of funny. So this cousin is cousins with another cousin of mine that they've never met in Colorado. I have not talked to Peter yet. We're supposed to catch up this week. I talked to him right before surgery. He was very positive, felt great about it. I think he's going to be fine. I think he's going to do great. Did you guys see the video of Close Enemies playing in Nashville? It was great. Yes, Mike Bledsoe asked, these tubes are EL84s. Yes, they are. That kind of works, doesn't it? Those first Zeppelin albums were all a telling anyway, weren't they? Could you screw it up, Dan? That would make it sound more human. Sure, I can do that. Cousin Bingo, yeah. I have the best cousins in the world, one of whom's on here right now. Patricia, but we call her Putta. Nicknames because the younger kids couldn't say her name. Putta. Now it's Putta. Cousin Bingo, still less sloppy than Jimmy Page. I'm not going to even acknowledge that comment, Hoss. That's kind of crazy. But it sounds right, doesn't it? I can go full gain and see. I think it's too much gain now. Let me get that little tone down a little bit. Single coils under the lights. Yeah, that's a good comment. Mike Bledsoe says, I heard EL84s are described as EL34's cousin. They are. They're very similar, except in the bottom end because they're little tubes. But mid-range content's very similar to EL34s. Not exactly the same, but similar for sure. Keith John says, I watched the last 3 episodes, but I thought you had blocked me. No. Why would I block you, Keith? Pilot Air, I know what I'm doing now. Okay, good. So just for the people jumping in, I'm going to start promoting the show, getting more people. And we're probably going to start going over to YouTube. YouTube's easier to work with than Facebook. So what I'm going to start doing is putting links on Facebook to the YouTube show. So if you want to go over there now and have a look, Mike Bledsoe is there. Hoss Thompson is there. Looks like everybody else is pretty much on Facebook. So you can go to my YouTube page or you can go to 65 Amps. It should be right now playing on both of those. But that's where we're going to end up. And if you don't have to have a membership or a register or anything like that to watch it over there. Facebook's not that way, right? But hear how rough that is on the bottom? This guitar is so raw. It's really... That's mud. But like good fuzz box kind of mud. So I didn't have my capo last time because what I thought we should play... Put my hands up so you can see what nerdy crap I'm doing. Well, you heard about the Midnight Rambler. Timeless. Scotty Bratcher, another good question. Is there a layman's comparison between the 5A U4 and the GZ34? Well, the GZ34 is the European designation for that tube. Is the 5A4 the American one, right? So American tube things always start with numbers, and European tube designations always start with letters. And there's not a whole lot of rhyme or reason to it. What is this, Ray? You're saying Joe Bonamassa status? What is this? Let me click on it and see. That's a sweet telly, not quite as sweet as my 51S. No, it's very different. 4 tires and a spare. That's funny. Yeah, I can't click on it for some reason. If I click on it, it just puts it here on the screen, which is fine. Yeah, 51 Esquire, very different machine than a CBS made 3-bolt Tele Custom. Mike Bledsoe asks, what are your settings on the amp? It sounds awesome. Good. Well, right now, so it has 2 channels. There's like, I wouldn't call it clean. It's just a lower gain channel that has a booster switch on it. So you can go, I'll show you. So here's like all the way down, no gain. I have the volume turned up enough where the power tubes are breaking up a little bit, right? You know, my favorite. Then there's a booster switch. This is all on a foot switch, by the way. I just too lazy to hook up a foot switch. I'm doing it by hand. So there's the booster on the clean side, right? And then there's a bump. And you guys all know the bump, right? All of our amps have a bump, right? So I can do it. Oh, let's see, get a little more tone out of that. And so the bump goes up to 6. I have it on 4. You go all the way back down. Not a big volume drop when you go down to clean either. You must have had some fucking killer tires, Ray Colby, to get a 51 Esquire for it. I'm not on Twitter right now. Twitter for me has become too political. So I just try to avoid that. You can have whatever politics you like. I don't care. I respect everybody, and I don't want to argue with anybody. So I try to avoid those situations. I have a degree in political science, and my family was really political back in Missouri. And not that makes me an expert, but it does give me a different perspective on politics. It's all nonsense. It's all power-hungry egomaniacs, both parties. The wind blows back and forth between who's worse and who's more corrupt and who's whatever. So I just kind of decided I like what I like, and you can like what you like, and it won't affect our friendship and all that stuff. Do I have the capacity to receive telegrams or faxes? Well, I appreciate that, Raymond. Thank you. My experience on Twitter is no matter what you're talking about. Hey, there's one of my dogs. Still have border collies here, right? So my experience is no matter what I bring up, somebody turns it into politics on Twitter. So I just, every time I go there after like 10 minutes, I'm like, Jesus Christ. Okay, this place is a sewer. I know there's a lot of people there. I appreciate you bringing us up, and I appreciate the suggestion. I'm going to bring in Instagram besides YouTube right now, and then there's some other platforms that younger people react. But do I have the capacity to receive telegrams or faxes? No, not really. I don't have a fax machine. You can fax to a email address now. Which is here on the screen, danboole@me.com. Most fax software will let you fax to an email address. I love this guitar. I was playing it before in the middle position just for variety's sake, but this is just the bridge pickup. Give it just a little bit of hair. Now with the humbucker, this is more noticeable, Mike. I know you're kind of a Strat guy most of the time, so you probably just see it. It's nice to have. It comes a little bit of a live there. It's a very pedal friendly amp as well. You hear that finger string detail? That's the EF86 that does that. On the road to Shambhala. Thank you, Raymond. Says I've been on a Who listening binge for a week now. Sounds great, Dan. Thank you. Yeah, cleans up to touch too. That's right. Yeah, you can. I played that as a joke. You can go. Can't do it with my fingers. I need a pick. 13 stars. Haas says, got it. I was hoping there was a telegram office in LA and some greasy, awkward kid would love to run across town. Oh, I think you can still do a Western Union telegram and they'll send it to me and I have to give him a couple bucks when he comes to the door. But, you know, we can talk other ways, Haas. Anyway, 1971 Tele Custom. But it's not for sale, but the SoHo is. I think this is our last or second to last SoHo. And I'm still trying, Scotty, I'm still trying to get the Producer 84 here for you. Mike's been buried at work where he works. He lost some coworkers, and so he's doing overtime and stuff now. So he's a little killed. He's a little killed. Too dirty. Man, these pickups are just hairy around the edges, aren't they? I mean, that's really a good, like, 50s, 60s blues sound, isn't it? Give it a little more dirt. Whoops. This is what happens when you're trying to read. And I'm trying to read, play guitar, speak in complete sentences. Sometimes I trip over myself. Please be forgiving. I mean, that is just raunch. That's so dirty. If I take it up to the super dirt. Doesn't that sound like there's a fuzz pedal on here? I mean, a good fuzz pedal? That's a good question, Hoss. She's going to love the SoHo once you get it in the bedroom, Raymond Colby says. That's funny. I like that. 13 stars. What's the one amp that you always wanted to build but haven't had a chance to yet? Man, that's, you know, that's a good question. You know, there's some amps I'd like to just make my own version of that I haven't done. Like, we never made a Plexi or anything like that. We never made an straight AC30. Those are my kind of two favorite amps. You know, Fender amps, believe it or not, I'm really kind of a... I'm really kind of a tweed guy when it comes to Fenders. Wow. Talking, playing. Tin Bandmaster, yeah, that's one of them. If I tell you my favorite tweed Fender, there's two that I like that aren't really the ones that everyone likes. My favorite tweed combo I've ever played was a 57 Harvard. Man, it's just a little rock and roll machine. It's so great. It's like a deluxe, but with smaller transformers. And yeah, STP. I like those chords. They show off the amp. All the STP stuff shows off the amp because you got to have articulate amp to play it. That's probably needs to be dirty. So the 310 Bandmaster is a really cool amp. I've only played a couple of them that were really well functioning. I think the 310 Bandmaster has a lot of lore around it because it's an oddball, right? 3 10-inch speakers at 2.4 ohms. And that's all because Leo Fender bought cheap Army surplus crap, and that's what you got. Scotty, I'm helping you stay married. Well, good. I'm glad to hear that. A 57 Harvard, and then I love low-powered twins. Not the high-powered twins. They're a lot. But the 40-watt twin that has 5881s in it, man, that's a fun amp to play. It's really fun. It's kind of loud, but it's really fun amp to play. You know, the speakers are sort of cantered like this, and it's great. It's got a dual rectifier in it, right? You know, I mean, I'm sorry, a changeable rectifier. So, but like as far as like blackface Fenders, I like them. I hear other people play them and they sound great. I just don't get along with them that well. I don't know why that is, to be honest with you. I wish I had a better excuse, but you know, I had a 50-watt Plexi that I still, God, you know, my favorite amp ever, and it's a low B plus amp. Like the B plus on it's like 380, 390 or something. You know, whereas 100-watt the B plus is often over 500 volts. So with that much less voltage on the tubes, they react differently. They compress a little bit. They sound different. I like that. I like the way they work. When I lived in England, I played with an AC30 in the bands that I was in, an old AC30. And I could do anything I wanted with that amp. I could play heavy metal on it. I could play country. I could play crunchy, raunchy rock and roll. I could do whatever. It's great. They're really great amps. A proper AC30, the reissues are good. The thing about an AC30 is by today's standard, it's loud as hell. It's really not, I think it's the same volume as a 50-watt Marshall. You know, because it's not a 30-watt amp, right? That's just the model number. It's actually like a 44-watt amp. And that's loud. That's really loud. Whereas a 50-watt Marshall is breaking up a lot by the time you get close to 50 watts. It doesn't do 50 watts clean. It does maybe 28 watts clean, 25 watts clean, something like that. And then it starts to break up, which is why they're great. So why, do you got something, Hoss, you want to sell? No, the one amp I've always wanted to build, I don't know. I'd like to have a stab at a Plexi. You know, everybody does that. That's why I've stayed away from it. It's kind of trite. But everybody in their mind, there's only a couple of guys I know building Marshalls that know what real Marshalls sound like. That's right, Hoss. AC30 is a loud-ass amp. If it was run an AC30, remember my trapezoid AC30 head, Hoss, that I had? You run that into a Marshall 412, it's loud as hell. Yeah, Ray, Brian knows what he's talking about. It's really cathode bias, though. People misuse the term Class A. A push-pull amp can't be Class A. It can be Class AB. AB1 is what it's called. But people shorten that to Class A. That's fine. But so anyway, what I was getting at, there's a few guys that know what real Marshalls sound like that are making Marshalls. Dave Friedman's one. George Metropolis is another one. That guy, no one loves Marshalls more than George Metropolis. His amps are as correct as you're going to get. And they work great. And plus George is a sweet man. If you want to spend money with somebody, he's a good person to spend money with. Dave's amps are all the modded, hot rodded Marshalls. I did, Mike. Oh, that's so good. I'll get to you in just a second. I saw that. It's really good. he talks about Brendan on there too. But so a lot of people are building Marshalls to sound like what they think Marshalls sound like from records, which is not accurate. Because you're hearing the microphone and the preamp and the console and the engineer and then the mastering engineer. Scotty Bratcher, you could not be more correct. Nobody ever gives credit to heavy Marshall's clean sound. I can get great clean sounds out of a Marshall. It's not Fendery clean sounds, but really good clean sounds. I can play country on a Marshall all day long if you know what you're doing. If you roll the mid-range back and your hands are intelligent enough to do what they need to do, you can play great country on a Marshall. Mike Bledsoe says, check out Robert DeLeo's Rick Beato interview. He told awesome stories like how he and Scott Weiland were doing the same woman and didn't know it until she came into one of their shows before STP formed. That's funny. Yeah. Robert's the bass player in STP, but he actually wrote all the songs. It's his brother Dean that had to learn all these crazy jazz chords. Like the stuff I've been playing is great, right? So C major 7, and then G major 7, B diminished 6, B flat diminished, A9. That's not really a lot of rock and roll chords there, but it works really well. Anyway, I'm going to shut the amp down, turn the guitar off, and let you guys drive now. Tell me what you want to talk about. What question? It could be anything. It doesn't have to be about this. Tell me what's up. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're curious about. Do you have any amp or guitar questions? Yeah, he played the guitar. How about now? Is that better? I set my headphones down on my console and check 1 2, rolling check 1 2 3. Yes, no. Sound now. Okay, good. Yeah, I did. I set my headphones down and hit the button on the channel by accident. Sorry. Anyway, I'm back. Yay. Thank you. I missed you too, man. That's deep. It was hard. I don't know what to do. No, I mean that. I'm not kidding. So, anyway, we can talk about golf. We can talk about guitars. We can talk about old cars. 3 things that I love. We can talk about border collie dogs. I got one right here. Trip, come here. Trip-oo. Where'd he go? Trip, come. Where are you, bud? He's sleepy. But I do got to go here in just a few minutes. Got about 5. Hey, buddy, where are you? Come here. Trip, come here. He's not like, remember Champ used to love to get up on the chair? And then there's Martha. I got 2 border collies here. Come here, Martha, come on. You can see one dog here, and then the little girl's over here, little puppy girl. Let me see if I can get her on camera for you. Come here, Martha. Martha, come. Trip, come. Martha, come. Come here, mama. Come here. Come here, little mama. Are you guys ready? Look at that. You're a good dog. Yes, you are a good dog. Oh, yeah. And then here's my dude. Trip, up. Up. That's a boy. Oh, no. Is it too awkward for you? Come on, up. Yeah, it's a boy. Look. Oh, where you going, man? All right. They're camera shy. Hi, I got 2 dogs right here. So, yeah, I figured Hoss, you would dig it, right? North of England, you know about these dogs. That's where they come from. Right on the border, right? Border Collies. Camera shy. Yeah, Trip's a little, he likes to get his hair done, makeup, that kind of stuff. Anyway, we're down to 2. You guys remember Champ and Sass from the old show. They're both passed away. After good long lives, Champ didn't live as long as we wanted to, but Sass lived to be almost 15, which is ancient for a Border Collie. They usually live to be about 12. And I think Champ made it to 11, something like that. Dan, have you ever heard of Sloan? He's from Michigan. No, I haven't. Who's Sloan? Mr. Bledsoe. Who's that? Who dat? Anyway, so we got the little girl in training, and the other dude's 7, so he's like baked. And my wife's begging for a third one. For a while, we were rolling with 3. Actually, for a while, we were rolling with 4. My youngest daughter had her dog, her Border Collie here. My kids want Border Collies, right? And so she had her Border Collie living with us, and we had 4 for a minute. Read above comments. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't see it, Mike. I'm sorry. Came across amp guys made by some guy named Sloan. It sounds like a Soldano, only better. I've never heard of them. I know there's Haas says can't have too many dogs. Well, the legal limit in Los Angeles is 3. So I had 4. Just don't tell anybody. I have not heard of Sloan. There's a lot of guys making amps, you know, that come and go. We love your Aussies. Yeah, Aussies are fantastic dogs. Similar mindset as a Border Collie. But yeah, Mike, to be honest with you, I don't keep up with it. Having been in this business, like we started building that first London, and I'm going to sit back and move my microphone here a little bit, even though it'll be on camera now so I can relax a little bit. We started building that first London in 2002. And when we went into business formally, it was just kind of a hobby before that. Like we built amps out here in my backyard and indoors in a little sheltered in a little house. But, and we didn't go to a NAMM show until 2004. So when we became formally a business, like we started a corporation, went to the bank, opened accounts, you know, all that stuff. One of the things we used to do every year was sit around my dining room table. That's funny. LA County is 18 million people here. It's population density. Plus half the people here have pit bulls. So if you love pit bulls, God bless you. That's great. But they can be a little dangerous, but not all of them. They love their owners. I'm not trying to disparage a dog. I've never heard of a Border Collie attack, but anyway, so we did everything. We sit around my dining room table with the partners here every year, and we would do a competitive radar. We would list, 10 companies that we thought were in our space. One reason was we just wanted to be aware of. The other one was I didn't want to step on anybody's toes. I've always thought it'd be better to carve out our own lane than it is to do what someone else is doing. Like, for example, we really love divided by 13 amps. We all do. And the key to the divided by 13 back then, there's American Bull Terrier. Yeah, absolutely. They're good dogs. Even the English Staffordshire Terrier, nice dog. But anyway, the divided by 13 is, what's the 257? What is it? Oh my God, I have a whole pile of them. Because for a while we thought about making amps with that tube. It's a Gibson tube. And 5879, I think is what it's called. But we didn't want to do that because Fred was doing that. We just thought 2 reasons. A, why split a market? In half, because you're only going to get half of it. And then also we want to be friendly peers to all of the guys we work with, because as a boutique builder, you're under the gun. We're tiny and we don't have big corporations funding us, and we can't really lose money. Whereas Marshall and Fender and Crate and orange. Those guys can lose money. They can lose money for years and be fine. They can sell gear at a loss if they have to. We can't do that. So we just thought, in order to be good citizens of our community, it would probably be smarter to just not go there. Anyway, what I'm getting at, Mike, sorry, I lost my thread there, is that every year after doing the competitive radar for like 5 years, we would go back and look at last year's competitive radar. And out of the 10 companies that were on our competitive radar in any given year, only 4 of them were there on the next year. And then if you go back 3 or 5 years, there'd be 2 of them that were still there. So what does that tell you? It tells you there's a lot of come and go in this business. And it's normal because people start making amps in their house and they keep all the money because they're building them, and it's fun. You make cash and it's really a good time, and you meet neat people. You really meet some great guitar players. And for years, people used to come and I used to sell amps right here out of this room, and guys would come over. I mean, I had big rock stars sitting on that sofa playing guitar here. It was great. I also had a lot of guys from the gear page coming over, which was great. It's very fun. But then you got to go rent a shop, and then you have to get a business license, and then you have to get liability insurance, and you have to get workers' comp, and then you need to hire a couple of guys, and then you got fire inspections, and you got city tax every year, and then you got to start paying everything. All of a sudden, when you sell an amp for $2,000 and you pocket $1,000, you sell an amp for $2,000, you're pocketing $300. And you're stuck because if you then raise your prices, people think you're a jerk. They don't understand the business model. Even now, like we're contemplating going back into business, and oh my God, the cost of everything has gone up so much. I don't know how guys do it now. So anyway, to the point being, I have not heard of Sloan, probably because they're new. And I wish him the best. I hope it all goes fantastic and he takes over the world. I've just kind of seen this pattern. So my advice to Mr. Sloan, if you're making really good amps, growing is really expensive, and becoming 100% legal is very expensive. It's not cheap. Probably more expensive here in California than in Michigan. But you still have to do all that stuff. You have to get insurance. You got to get business insurance. You got to get liability insurance. You have to get workers' comp insurance. You have to pay your business license every year. You have to pay rent. You have to pay utilities. Like when I had a shop at one point, I'm going to sneeze, sorry. Excuse me. At one point, we had 7 or 8 people working in the shop. There's things you don't realize that you have to spend money on, like cleaning supplies, toilet paper, coffee, which I was more than happy to spend the money on, but it would end up being $500 or $600 a month, for all those people. And, I had to upgrade my internet to really fast because we had a whole bunch of people on the internet. And this is back when internet was a joke, but, those sorts of things. When you're running a guitar amp shop, you use a lot of electricity, and commercial rates are way more expensive than residential rates. So my electric bill over at my old shop was $2,000 a month. It adds up. So my advice to anybody doing this is to go into it open-eyed. And a lot of people think, oh no, I'm going to find a way around it and I'll make it work and it'll be different. Okay. But I could show you, I wish I could find them. They're probably on an old computer. I have our competitive radar from like 2004 up through, I think, 2013, before we did our license deal. And you'd be astonished. And I could read off the names. You'd be like, oh yeah, I remember those guys. What happened to them? Well, usually what happens is they start realizing the reality of building amps. I used to walk through, we had an area in our factory. It was just kind of storage. And I'd walk through there and there'd be $200,000 worth of stuff sitting on the shelf that I could not touch. Like, for example, if you want to buy speakers from Celestion, Normally you have to buy 3 pallets of speakers, and there's 60 speakers on a pallet. So you do the math, right? I need, and I would buy 1 pallet of Alnico Blues, which are expensive as hell, 60 of those, right? So, that alone, at wholesale price, they're almost $200 a piece wholesale, 60 of them. That's money. That's real money. Otherwise, you have to buy them onesie twosie where they're like $350, $400. You can't build an amp with parts that expensive. It'll cost $6,000 by the time you're done. In order to buy tubes, I had to buy them by the gross, and most of them were shite. So it all adds up. So anyway, gosh, that's a long answer to a short question, Mike. I'm sorry. I have not heard of Sloan. I'm interested. I would love to hear it. Maybe you can send me a link or share a link here, or whatever you want to do. Send me a link. I'll check them out. Sounds like a Soldano, only better for $1,700. That's the thing. At that price, I guarantee you he's building them at home. And I do wish him well. What speakers are in the SoHo? So I'm playing through the aux box right now. So it's just greenbacks that you're hearing it through. The IR that I'm playing through is a Marshall 412 with greenbacks in it. With our SoHo, we would do our mixed cabinet of an Alnico Blue and a G12H30, which I think sounds better than this. And then also I have a 112 cabinet back here with a G12H30 in it. I just don't want to, I can't mic stuff up in here. My wife still works here at home. My wife's worked from home ever since COVID. So, I can't blast in here anymore. So you get me on impulse responses, which I think sound great. I don't know about you, but this is a better sound than 99 out of 100 guys are going to get micing up an amp. You have to be pretty good and pretty experienced. Yeah, send me a demo of Sloan. Thanks, man. I look forward to it. I wish the guy well. Mr. Sloan, whoever you are in Michigan, God bless you. May the wind be at your back, and may the road rise up to meet you. I hope everything goes really well. It's a tough business. It's not an impossible business by any means. You just have to be really smart, and you have to be very realistic about what your expenses are going to be, and pay your employees first. Otherwise, you'll go. That's how everyone I know has gone out of business. The biggest mistake they make is not paying they pay themselves before they pay their employees. And I've had really well-known people tell me, don't ever do that. Always pay yourself. And then you end up by yourself, trying to run a business by yourself, which is really hard. Raymond Colby says, see through that digital back-end idea. Yeah, I'm working on that right now, actually. That's the prototype that I'm starting on. And I hope to show you proof of concept here as soon as I can. I have to get my intellectual property locked down. So as soon as I get confirmation, I'm not looking for a patent, just a trademark. You can't get patents on anything anymore to do with tube amps. It's impossible. And the existing patents that people have are a joke. They're only there because no one wants to spend the money to fight them, but they're not really, they're very porous. Anyway, but thank you, Raymond. Yeah, I'm working on it. I'm waiting on stuff. I commissioned power transformers and the whole thing. It just takes time. It's way too slow. Everything's twice as slow now after COVID. Mike Bledsoe says, Dan, have you heard Marshall might be for sale again? No, I have not. I thought the new owners, Zound or whatever, are doing a really good job. They're going to sell it off? Oh, man. Seems like that's a brand that is in distress that should not be in distress. Maybe I'll give them a call. Yeah. Marshall to me is like Ford and Chevy, like General Motors and Ford. It's like institutions, but apparently not. I don't know why that is. My humble opinion as an outsider looking in is they got too horizontal and broad. There's a few things they do better than anyone else, and they could probably just make that their entire business. Sort of like Gibson. If Gibson just made Les Paul's SGs and 335s, they'd make a fortune. You could almost just make Les Pauls. I like other Gibson guitars, but just as a business person, you could just make Les Pauls and have a nice business. They could get rid of 3/4 of their building and people that work there. And, not that I'm advocating them doing that. I'm just saying theoretically it would work. They make a lot of profit off Les Pauls. I got privy to their numbers a long time ago from a friend of mine that worked there. They're astonishingly cheap to make. At least they were like 15 years ago. Oh no, Phil has got the article. Yeah, Gibson wanted to be a lifestyle. Yeah, that was Henry Jaskowitz that did that. Thank you, Scotty. That's true. Phil Hadaway, post the link here. Here it is. Wow. Bummer. Maybe up for sale. I guess they're just not making any money. Crap. No, Mike, I don't think I'd ever put my name on an amp. That's too proud. That's not my style. Marshall. 800 million euros. Really? That much money? That doesn't make any sense. Because that's like, I don't know, what's the, hey Siri, how much is 800 million euros in US dollars? $866 million. I don't think they're going to get that. I think that's a very aspirational number. I don't think that's possible. There's just not that much. There's not that much business in tube amps. That's more than every tube amp sold on Earth combined times 5. Not just Marshalls, Fenders, who make 700 amps a day. Yeah. Oh, that's crazy. Is all that ancillaries and headphones and Bluetooth? Yeah, right. Yeah, it's going to be all that. Yeah, and I'm working on some AI stuff too, Mike. I can't talk about it because every time I talk about stuff, someone else says, hey, that's a good idea, and we'll do it. I could give you 4 or 5 examples of stuff where people paid me as a consultant to come in and share my ideas and then just did it. And that pisses me off. Anyway, I got to go, guys. It's been a nice chat with you guys. Those are great questions. That's still less than Queen. Yeah, that's right. Those are great questions. I like it when you guys chime in more. So please feel free. Don't be shy. I know I tend to just talk, but I love hearing from you. And like just today, I did not know Marshall may be up for sale again. That's 800 million euros, though. $866 million. Thank you, Raymond. Appreciate it. I am forging ahead. I have so much great stuff going on. I can't talk about it. But take my word for it. Things are happening, and I'm positive and happy and excited. You know, I've been working as a consultant for a long time. I still am. Phil just got here. What the hell, man? You have to watch recordings. So I'm just getting ready to sign off. But anyway, progress is what I'm saying. It's good. I've been a consultant for a long time. I like it. It's really good money. And the people I work with, for the most part, have been great. Like really great. Like lovely, lovely people. But it doesn't scratch the itch. You know, I'm an entrepreneur. And I think I want to get back to that. And I'm at a stage in life where I can afford to do that. Kids are out of the house, even though they're still in college. Lots of bills, but we're okay. Like we're okay. So I can take some chances and take some risks. I have a big meeting on Monday. Such a thing. Which is really cool. And if you'll see that I'm really happy next Thursday, you'll know what's up. Anyway, I do got to go. Thank you guys for wasting your time with me. I really appreciate it. Mike says, Dan, you and your NDAs. Well, man, what's Mr. Howell's favorite song? Love it. Yeah, I tell you that I committed suicide the other day. I tried to jump off my wallet. Anyway, that's really bad impression. I'm sure I'll see it on the video and cringe. Anyway, you guys are great. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I know your time is special and important, and I appreciate you wasting it with me. I look forward to talking more, and thank you for all the comments and the feedback and everything else, and I look forward to showing you new stuff. Anyway, SoHo's for sale. It's a good price. It's cheaper than the whiskey in the Empire. Seriously, get a hold of me. My email address is right here, danbull@me.com, or you can get me on Facebook Messenger, whatever you want. Anyway, love you guys. Have a great week, a great weekend, and go Dodgers. All right. Love you. Bye.